Welcome back to ACL Academy. This is Dr. Kaan, and today I'm going to talk about having a meniscal repair along with your ACL surgery and how this changes your ACL process. Before I get into that, if you guys have been following along and found value in our channel, please like the video. If you have comments, drop them below, or questions, we are here to answer. And please spread the word about the ACL Academy. So, just getting into it now, when we have a meniscal repair, one thing that we want people to understand that we need to always protect that repair. A reconstruction, right? When you get an ACL reconstruction, we are replacing something. When you are repairing something, you're actually fixing the structure that is there. So when people get an ACL surgery, the majority of the time, although they're starting to do some ACL repairs now. Majority of times an ACL reconstruction, so they're taking a donor or replacement tendon, whether it's from your own tissue or whether it's from a cadaver or a donor person, and they're replacing what was left of your ACL. Now, a lot of times it is common to have a meniscus tear along with your ACL tear. And when the surgeon goes in there and takes a look while they're fixing or reconstructing your ACL, if you do have meniscus tear, there are two options for treatment there. One is they'll do what we call a partial meniscectomy, where they're cleaning up the tear site. And so this way there's no flapping around or tissues getting caught in the joint itself. Or if the tear is on the meniscus where it is repairable, where it's getting blood flow, the surgeon will actually repair it. So that is actually a kind of picture sewing it back together again, right? Now, if you're in the category of a partial meniscectomy or a cleanup, there are no restrictions for your ACL recovery, and your guidance will be just based on having an ACL surgery alone. If you have an ACL reconstruction along with a meniscal repair, well, there will be some restrictions. So getting into that, in the majority of cases, when you do have an ACL reconstruction with meniscal repair, you will be limited both in weight bearing as well as how much you can bend the knee early on. Now, this will depend on several factors. One is the surgeon and his protocol. Two would be the type of tear, how big it was, how hard it was to repair, how many stitches it took, right? These are all things that will come into play. It is very common that you may be non-weight bearing for anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. And you also will be limited in the amount of flexion or bending range of motion, usually around 90 degrees for the first 4 weeks. If it's a big tear and a big repair, the surgeon may want to do no flexion for a period of time before they allow you to start bending. And the reason being is, let's say this is my thigh, this is my shin, right? And when it is in extended position, we're not putting too much pressure on the tissues between the joints, right? And the main tissue between the joint is that meniscus or that shock absorber. As we bend, well, we're starting to grind on that area, right? And we're causing movement there, and that could be causing a problem to the repair itself. So what we want people to understand is during that time, that doesn't mean you're just laying in bed and doing nothing. The silver lining, if there is a silver lining, well, two silver linings really, is one, if you have a repair, you get to keep your meniscus. So that's a good sign. The meniscus is your shock absorber. That's the cushion between your thigh bone and your shin bone. So if we can keep it, it's important to keep it. Yes, it sucks to be on crutches. Yes, it sucks to be non-weight bearing. And it sucks to not be able to move our knee. But if we could keep a piece of our tissue that's important for our joint health and knee health, that goes a long way for longevity, right? Long-term health. Secondly, another silver lining, if you will, would be you really can hone in and focus on your extension. As you know, if you'd watched my previous videos, is the top priority after surgery. So we can really focus in on that extension stretching. And the other thing that we could really hone in and focus on is quad activation, right? We want to get that quad muscle going where we can use neuromuscular stim And we can also do all the quad sets under the sun in all the various positions, right? Because as our leg is straight, the quad can contract and really straighten out our leg. So in those first 4 weeks, or maybe not bending as much, or maybe not weight bearing, we can really nail down some of those basics. And the top priorities, right, as we talked about, is the extension, is the quad activation, swelling control. So there's a lot of those things that you can really make perfect before you advance to those next stages. So even though you can't weight bear, even though you can't necessarily bend your knee how you want, there are plenty of things that you can do in the rehab process. So this way, you're not really slowed down. When you do have an ACL with meniscus repair, chances are you may be delayed with the long-term process because you are about 4 weeks or so behind. But at the end of the day, when you're allowed to start moving again, things can start to go a little bit quicker, especially if you nail down the extension, the swelling, and the quad activation. So those are the big differences. And as I said before, if you have a meniscectomy, which is the cleanup, there are no restrictions weight bearing. There are no restrictions in bending, so you can get going fairly quickly. Guys, if you have any questions, leave them below in the comments. If you like the video, if you did enjoy the video, please like it. Please subscribe to our channel. Please share it with a friend. This is Dr. Kaan signing off. I'll see you guys next week here at the ACL Academy.